Take the entire population of Russia and plus another 10 million people. Now, squeeze all of them into the size of Iowa. A nation permanently locked in overdrive. To the outside world, it's a land of devastating monsoon rains, suffocating pollution, and the ruthlessness of the fast fashion industry. But what if you look closer, past the chaos, past the noise? Because hidden inside this hyperdense mega-hive is a world of jaw-dropping contradictions. A place where fishermen don't hunt with nets, and where humanity doesn't just survive the crush, they thrive in it. Far more than a story of survival, this is the unfiltered truth of what it's really like to live inside the world's most crowded, chaotic, and relentlessly resilient nation. That is Bangladesh. To truly understand this country, you have to throw out everything you know about urban survival. Welcome to Dhaka, a sprawling megacity with no traffic laws, none. A chaotic sea of people crammed together with over 500,000 handcarts, motorbikes, and dented, rusty buses struggling relentlessly. The air is a thick, hot soup of black exhaust and dust. Here, distance is completely meaningless. Time is everything. A simple 2-mile crosstown drive doesn't take you 10 minutes. It costs you 3 agonizing hours of gridlock, tempers flaring under a blazing sun. But during the major festival of Eid, the streets don't just jam, they completely collapse. Millions of migrant workers are suddenly trying to flee the urban concrete to get back to their home villages at the exact same time. The buses are buried under mountains of luggage. The river ferries are packed past legal limits, tilting dangerously into the muddy water. With the roads paralyzed, humanity looks to the tracks. This is train surfing. There are no seats. No tickets, no safety nets. Thousands of desperate men, women, and even young children use their bare hands to scale the smooth steel sides of locomotives, scrambling to claim a single patch of burning metal on the curved roofs. They pack together, shoulder to shoulder, crouching in the open air as the massive engine roars to life. The tension is suffocating. Sweaty palms, slippery iron, screeching wind. The train accelerates, hurtling forward at high speeds. One minor bump, one sudden break, one concrete, low-hanging bridge passing just inches above their eyes. Yet, as the roaring machine finally breaks free into the open countryside, something beautiful and entirely shocking happens. The people on the roof aren't shivering or screaming in fear. They are singing, they are laughing, sharing cigarettes and smiling as the wind hits their faces. This is the terrifying, deeply intoxicating reality of Bangladesh. A place where the survival is not a crisis, but a daily, high-octane, extreme sport. Bangladesh is not just crowded, it is geographically trapped. It is a nation built inside a water prison. Look at its borders. India physically encircles Bangladesh on three sides, locking it in a tight geopolitical embrace. But the real curse isn't the land, it's the water. This tiny country sits directly at the absolute bottom of the global drain. It is a completely flat, low-lying delta, trapped at the violent confluence of three of the most massive, wild river systems on Earth: the Ganges, the Brahmaputra, and the Meghna. It is a giant geographic funnel. When the summer heat hits, millions of tons of ancient ice melt off the towering peaks of the Himalayas. That colossal wall of water roars downward, rushing straight through India and crashing directly into Bangladesh. And then, the monsoon rains arrive. The clouds open up, dumping oceans of water onto soil that is already saturated. Because India controls the upstream water gates, Bangladesh has nowhere to push the excess. The result is a seasonal apocalypse. Every single summer, like clockwork, the rivers burst their banks, and up to 1/3 of the entire country physically disappears underwater. Whole maps are wiped clean, roads turn into rivers, villages become isolated islands overnight. To an outsider, it looks like a humanitarian catastrophe. It looks unlivable. Instead of being submerged in the sea, the people here have learned to adapt to it. For centuries, the people have watched the horizon dissolve into an endless ocean, learning to treat the water not as an invading enemy, but as the rhythmic pulse of their very existence. They don't run from the flood. They build floating lives. But adapting to nature is only half the battle. To see how far human endurance can be pushed, you have to leave the flooded fields and head south. Welcome to the coast of Chittagong. This is the grittiest, most hazardous industrial graveyard on the face of the earth. This is where the world's colossal commercial shipping vessels, the multi-ton steel titans of global trade, come to die. When a ship gets too old or rusted to sail, international companies don't send it to a high-tech facility. They sail it here at full speed, intentionally crashing it onto the muddy beaches of Bangladesh. And then, an army of impoverished workers moves in to rip it apart, by hand. The stakes are deadly. The storytelling is written in blood. Bare feet, asbestos dust, corrosive chemicals, toxic fumes. Imagine a worker weighing barely 130 pounds. He has no hard hat, no steel-toed boots, no safety harness. Now put him face to face with a 50,000-ton rusted iron monster towering 10 stories above his head. His only weapons? A crude gas blowtorch and a heavy sledgehammer. They work in tightly packed teams, dangling from frayed ropes high in the air, cutting away massive slabs of iron from the ship's hull. The tension is razor sharp. One wrong cut, one fractured weld. A 5-ton steel plate snaps, plunging downward, crushing everything in its path. The danger doesn't just fall from above. Trapped gas pockets linger deep within the dark, hollow bellies of these ships. A single spark from a blowtorch, and the entire vessel erupts into a violent, fiery explosion. Every single day, these men dance with death, breathing in toxic lead and cancer-causing dust. And their reward? A meager wage of less than $5 a day. It is a brutal, unforgiving grind that fuels the global economy. A shocking display of human beings operating as raw fuel inside a giant industrial machine. After the suffocating heat and twisted steel of Chittagong, breathe in. Because beneath the industrial grime lies a world that is sensory, soulful, and deeply comforting. Step onto the bustling, smoke-filled alleys of old Dhaka. Listen to the rhythmic sizzling of massive copper pots. $1. That is all it costs to buy a ticket to culinary heaven. A steaming plate of street-side kachi biryani. Watch the vendor scoop it out. Fluffy, aromatic basmati rice infused with pure ghee and saffron. Buried beneath the rice is a massive chunk of marinated mutton. It is so tender, it literally falls off the bone at the touch of your fingers, melting in your mouth like butter. It is hot, fragrant, and heavily drenched in rich curry spices that sting the back of your throat. But the sensory journey doesn't stop at the city limits. Travel deeper into the quiet, emerald green wetlands of the Southwest, and the chaos of humanity completely dissolves into nature. Here, the air smells of fresh river water and wet earth. You are witnessing one of the rarest, most beautiful sights left on the planet, the ancient art of otter fishing. This is a 2,000-year-old tradition passed down through generations. These local fishermen do not rely on modern technology or massive nylon nets. Instead, they operate with a highly trained domestic army of river otters. Watch them work in perfect, silent harmony. The fishermen release the otters into the murky water, tethered by small leather harnesses. Like a synchronized naval fleet, the otters dive, swimming like lightning through the reeds, cleverly steering schools of fish straight into the fishermen's waiting nets. It is a striking, poetic contrast. In a country known for overcrowding and survival, this quiet riverbank proves that Bangladesh is also a place of profound tenderness, a land where humanity and the wild can still share an ancient, unbroken brotherhood. But to look at Bangladesh and feel only pity is to completely miss the point. Because despite the toxic rivers, the suffocating crowds, and the endless environmental crises, the people of Bangladesh do not view themselves as victims. They don't want your sympathy, they don't need it, because they possess a secret mental weapon, a cultural superpower known as jugad. Jugad is the art of brutal, frugal innovation. It is the fierce, unbreakable mindset that no matter how broken the system or how scarce the resources, you find a way to make it work. It is survival engineered out of pure desperation and raw intelligence. To understand jugad, you have to look at the streets. When locals couldn't afford expensive commercial transport, they didn't wait for government aid. They took heavy-duty diesel engines from rusted agricultural water pumps, welded them onto scrap metal chassis, and created the Nasamun, loud, smoking, unlicensed vehicles that now form the backbone of the rural economy. Because of their lethal accident rates, the government has banned them from every major highway. Yet Nasamun refuses to die. Today, these outlawed machines operate clandestinely, weaving through remote back roads and muddy village tracks, acting as the stubborn, beating heart of the rural economy. When the blistering summer heat hits 113 degrees Fahrenheit, turning tin-roof slum houses into suffocating metal ovens, the community doesn't buy air conditioners. They invent them. By cutting thousands of plastic soda bottles in half and mounting them onto cardboard grids over windows, they exploit basic physics. The shifting air pressure dropping through the bottlenecks instantly cools the indoor temperature by up to 9 degrees. No electricity, zero cost. This is not just recycling, it is a masterclass in psychological and physical resilience. It is a society that looks at a dead end and builds a highway. Look at the garment sector. Western headlines scream about the brutal exploitation inside the factories, making clothes for Zara, H&M, and Adidas. The statistics are grim. The hours are punishing. But walk inside those neighborhoods, and the narrative shatters. What you find isn't a broken people, but a community bound by an ironclad solidarity. You see intense pride. You see women earning their own financial independence, defying conservative norms. You see neighbors sharing meals, children laughing in the alleyways, and deep, genuine smiles that defy their harsh economic reality. This resilience isn't just a mood. It is a masterclass in survival that the rest of the world desperately needs to study. As climate change accelerates and rising sea levels threaten to swallow their lands, Bangladeshis aren't waiting for a global rescue package. They are out-engineering nature. Where the land drowns, they build floating farms out of water hyacinths and bamboo, growing crops directly on top of the floods. Where roads disappear, they build floating schools, keeping education alive on solar-powered boats. It is an emotional punch to the gut of our cynicism. This is a society facing the absolute worst of human and natural adversity, yet they do not break. They adapt, they innovate, they thrive in the spaces where anyone else would completely collapse. As our global population swells, as resources dry up, and as oceans inevitably push inland, the extreme conditions inside this tiny delta will become the global norm. Which means we shouldn't be looking down at Bangladesh. We should be looking up to them. We should be studying how they manage to keep a society functioning, smiling, and innovating when squeezed past the absolute limits of human tolerance. Bangladesh is not a tragedy to be pitied. It is a revelation. It is a grand cinematic sandbox of human endurance. Bangladesh isn't the past, it is the future. So, as we close this journey, look at your own map and ask yourself a question. If your entire country was suddenly compressed into the size of Iowa tomorrow, would your society find a way to thrive, or would it completely collapse under the crush? Let me know in the comments.